it's difficult to envisage it because we're looking to see what happens with Theresa May's negotiations. But we have to keep the option on the table because the worst possible thing would be to crash out of the EU without a deal. And I think the whole party is united in thinking that would be a catastrophe for our economy.
Do you think that Jeremy Corbyn agrees with Keir Starmer on that line, that nobody should rule out Remain as an option? Because it wasn't clear from what he said this evening.
No, I mean, we're actually much more united than the Tories on this. Keir made an excellent speech. He made it clear that what we were looking for was a general election, but we wanted to keep a second referendum on the table, and Jeremy supports him on that. You know, you're looking for sort of little divisions in the Labour Party. The big divisions are in the Conservative Party.
But there was a change of tone, wasn't there, from Keir Starmer? He said nobody's ruling out Remain as an option. So I'm trying to work out whether tonight, where you are in Liverpool, in the conference, there is a sense that there is a new vision of Labour's Brexit.
You need to take our position at face value. We are determined to honour the referendum. We ideally would want a general election, and in the event of not having a general election, we have not taken the second referendum off the table. You need to take our position actually at face value.
Fair enough. If there is a general election on the table, would you now campaign for that second referendum with that option in it? Is that the right thing for you to do, Labour, now?
We need to see what sort of deal, or if she gets a deal at all. At this point, we're all looking to see how Theresa May's catastrophic negotiations so far, actually, but at this point we're all looking to see how Theresa May's negotiations go.
So when you use a word like catastrophic, and Keir Starmer was the same, he said no ifs, no buts, but if Theresa May brings back a deal that fails our tests, and that looks increasingly likely, Labour will vote against it. He's right to say that, is he?
Oh yeah, that's all of our position.
And that means Labour voting, in essence, for a no deal, that you would then go through the lobby with the Rees-Moggs, with the Boris Johnsons. You'd be happy to go through there on no deal.
Let's see what sort of deal Theresa May comes up with.
Increasingly likely was Keir Starmer's words, and catastrophic was yours. So I'm just quoting back the position that you're envisaging for yourselves.
Her negotiations have been catastrophic. It's taken her a year and more to say something which the EU 27 were asking from the beginning, that she would guarantee the rights of EU citizens. Those are catastrophic negotiations, and it doesn't inspire confidence, I think, in the public.
Right, so I'm just trying to get the process, if you like. She brings back what you think will be a catastrophic deal. You will vote no, which means no deal. And would that mean then, as Emily Thornberry suggested, a delay to the Article 50 date? Is that now inevitable?
Let's see what she comes up with.
Come on, Diane, you can show some leg on this.
No, we as a party are quite united. We have 6 criteria. If her deal doesn't meet the criteria, we will not be voting for it. But we don't know what her deal is yet.
But you can see why people are getting frustrated with Labour, can't you? Because you've already decided that you're probably going to vote against the deal, which you think will be catastrophic. So you're going to vote no deal, but then we don't know if Article 50 will be pushed back. We don't know if there'll be a second referendum, which you'll campaign for. We don't know if Remain will be back on the table. You're not giving your voters or anyone who wants to support Labour anything to go on here.
We've been very clear. What is catastrophic is actually crashing out with no deal. We don't know that's going to happen, but if it did happen, it would be catastrophic. When we see her deal, we will know whether it meets our 6 criteria, and if it doesn't, we will certainly vote against it. That's been our position all along.
Let's talk about some of those criteria and immigration, which was in your speech just now. Will there be a special status for people from the EU coming here to live and work?
What I am saying is we will have criteria, we'll have a new system of workers' visas, and within the framework of the system, we want to treat people equally. That is only fair.
Your speech this evening was about respecting immigrants, calling out, you said, predatory employers instead. So this is a big moment in a way, because You know that many people who voted for Brexit, who voted for leave, were concerned about levels of immigration in this country. Are you prepared to go and tell them that they were wrong to blame immigrants, that it was actually unscrupulous bosses bringing down wages, it was not immigration?
I think you have to be very serious about why people voted to leave. People voted to leave partly because I think they felt that they had been abandoned. They felt that people in London and the big cities weren't listening to them. You have to respect why they voted, and you have to engage in a debate, and you have to try and address some of the very real issues. That's a complex thing.
Do you worry by saying that it's not about immigration that you somehow confirm Labour as the middle-class, London-centric, uber liberal, youth-obsessed party that's handing a P45 to your MPs in the north?
You seem to be reading from a Tory script. I'm telling you that migration is a complex issue and we need to start with the facts. I'm telling you the reason that some parts of the country voted to leave is a complicated question and we have to listen to them and respect them. But if all you're doing is throwing Tory talking points at me, it's difficult for me to respond.
That came from a Labour member who was in the hall who said that Labour should be worried that's exactly what they're doing.
Clearly, if we weren't prepared to respect the result of the referendum, if we weren't listening to people in other parts of the country about migration and a whole range of issues which cause them to vote leave, that would be difficult. But we do want to respect the referendum, and we do want to listen and respect the reasons why so many Labour supporters voted to leave.